My name is Ellie Jurgensen, and this video will be about Arctic wolves. It will talk about their ecosystem and environment, what they hunt, and what affects them. The Arctic wolf can be found in the taiga biome of almost every continent. They live there along with many other animals, including polar bears, lemmings, musk ox, moose, and rodents. Some of the prey of the Arctic wolf are elk, hares, mice, caribou, and lemmings. The Arctic wolf has to look out for its predators, including the polar bears and some humans. The Arctic wolf lives in the taiga biome of almost all continents. They adapt in cool areas where there is meat and plants. They live around several animals, including rabbits, lemmings, moose, bears, and caribou. They live in caves, mountains, rocks, and trees. They live in areas it would usually snow. The Arctic wolf shares meat, like small rodents and deer, and shelter supplies, like trees and rocks. With many different animals, the Arctic wolf shares the shelter supplies with other large predators. While the Arctic wolf uses the shelter supplies for shelter, some of the predators use it for food or things to do with food. The Arctic wolf also shares meal with predators. The predators use it for the same thing as the wolves: food. A food chain is the sequence of events consisting of who eats who in an ecosystem to obtain nutrition. A food chain starts with the primary energy source, which is the sun. The next link in the chain is an organism that makes its own food from the primary energy source, like photosynthetic plants. They are also known as autotrophs. Next come organisms that eat the autotrophs. These organisms are usually herbivores and are classed as primary consumers. In the Arctic ecosystem, this is like a hare that eats the grass. The next link in the chain is animals that eat herbivores. These are called secondary consumers. This is like a hawk that eats the hare. The Arctic wolf is a carnivore and is known as a tertiary consumer. This means that they exist in the top level in the food chain. An example of an animal that is beneath the Arctic wolf on the food chain would be the caribou, which is one of its most hunted food sources. As plants are known as the producers, they exist at the bottom of the food chain, which is where everything begins. The hares eat the plants, and the wolf eats the hares. This food chain is the important part of every ecosystem as it balances everything out. If there were no wolves to eat the hares, the plants would be gone due to too many hares looking for food. This affects all the other animals in the ecosystem, as there will be less food, which means more animals starve and eventually die. When an organism dies, it is eventually eaten by animals such as vultures, worms, and crabs. It is broken down by decomposers such as bacteria and fungi. This is what continues the exchange of energy. Wolves may not be the biggest, but they are very smart and hunt with their packs very well. They chase their prey, often for very long distances, sometimes even a few miles, in order to find the right animal or opportunity. On the hunt, wolves work together with certain individuals, typically carrying out the specific role in the hunt, often based on age, gender, and social standing. The top wolf is called the alpha and is the leader of the pack. While wolves will eat hares and other small prey, their preferred targets are large hoofed animals such as deer and elk. Individual packs will specialize in hunting specific prey species. While most often that is elk, caribou, deer, and moose, it can also be bison, musk oxen, Dall sheep, or even salmon. The Obama administration removed federal protection from some of the wolves that had been restored to the Northern Rockies under the Endangered Species Act. The move paved the way for controversial state-regulated wolf hunts. Wolf advocates strongly oppose the administration's decision, saying the 3 states in the region, Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming, need a cohesive management plan that allows for a much larger wolf population. The return of the gray wolf to the Northern Rockies is considered to be one of the most successful wildlife reintroduction projects in the history of the 27-year-old Endangered Species Act in 1995 and 1996. 66 gray wolves relocated from Canada to Yellowstone National Park in central Idaho. Today, there are more than 16,000 wolves in the region. For its part, the federal government says that just 300 wolves are needed for the legitimate recovery in the region. More than just a dozen conservation groups have sued the Interior Department to return federal protection to the Northern Rocky wolves. Some believe the result of this legal debate is a limitless test for the Obama administration's overall approach to wildlife issues and the Endangered Species Act.